podcast made by basketball fans for basketball fans. From the hottest takes, news, analysis, and passion for the sport that we all love, this is the Fast Break Pod with Finn James and Will Tremaine.
Welcome into the Fast Break Podcast, the podcast made by basketball fans.
For basketball fans.
Finn James.
Will Tremaine.
Back again. We're here for episode 29, one away from 30.
Wee, big milestone 30.
The big number for Will's favourite NBA player, Steph Curry.
Be quiet, mate. This is actually episode 0.
Oh, is it?
Episode 0, the greatest number on planet Earth. But yeah, Finn was actually just telling me off pod. Episode 50, guys. Finn James has got a giveaway planned.
Do I?
Out of his own pocket.
Okay. What is it going to be? What am I giving out my own pocket? If you say it's a trip to Bali again, I'm done.
No, this one's a little bit more low-key.
Okay.
He's sending a 2-week resort stay at Queenstown, at New Orleans hotel in Queenstown, and 4 free ski passes for 2 people, 4 days at the Remarkables. Yeah, all out of his own pocket. What a guy this guy is. Finn James, guys. Can we put it together for him for a second? Anyway, that's episode 50. So,
we're still
stay tuned
21 episodes away. Stay tuned.
Maybe we'll need some sponsors for that.
We might need a sponsor for that. New Orleans Resort, if you're watching. Regardless, let's please move on quickly before somebody actually thinks I'm giving away a trip to Queenstown. A bit of world news. Will, do you want to run through some of the Super Rugby results from the week?
Yep. So we had 5 games this weekend in the Super Rugby.
Always 5, to be fair.
Yeah. Hurricanes 20, Highlanders 18.
Massive game.
Close
actually.
one.
Yeah.
Brumbies 38 to Drua 21. Crusaders, Finn's team, massive game, 55-33, high scorer. I think they had Sevu Reece had 2 tries in that one, and that other winger, I forget his name, but he had 3 tries. I think it's Macaspringer, maybe?
Might be Mac. No, it might be a first five.
Macaspringer. Anyway,
you know what?
5
It's
tries
crazy.
combined.
I'm an alleged Crusaders fan. However, I'm quite unfamiliar with their team.
Poor form.
So
poor
that
form.
is a bit poor.
Is Will Jordan back? I can't say
Yeah.
that.
Will Jordan is back.
He is back? Okay,
Yeah.
that's good. Chiefs, Blues, close one here. 32 Chiefs, 31 Blues.
Hey, and can we... I'll pause on this real quick. You're a Blues fan.
No, I'm a Chiefs fan, mate.
Why do you have a blue shirt?
No, I am a Blues fan.
Yeah, you're a Blues fan.
I was going to help
Are
him
they
out
in the
anyway
mud?
for a second.
Like, they're going downhill incredibly quickly. The reigning champs are looking like they're going to miss the playoffs already, which is crazy.
32-31, 1 point game.
It's a loss, though.
It's a loss, but it's very close. I think the Blues will definitely make the playoffs.
And this is the second time they lost to the Chiefs this year.
Yeah, but the Chiefs are probably... They're looking like
They're the best
favourites.
team in Super Rugby, I think.
To win it all.
Yeah.
So, I mean, 2 losses to them. They'll bounce back when they play teams like the Western Force and the Waratahs. I don't know. Anyway, Reds 35, Waratahs 15. That was the last game.
Yeah, and the Reds are looking like the best team in Australia right now as well, which is
and
good
the
to
Brumbies,
see. And the Brumbies as well. However, it's good to see, I touched on this last week, how entertaining Super Rugby has been with how competitive the whole competition is.
Yeah,
Even
it's looking
Moana
way
got a
more
great win
competitive.
last week too.
They did.
It's good to see.
We got
NRL
them
action.
Just down the road, Finn, might I add.
Moana?
North
Harbour
We
Stadium.
might have to get along to a game.
Maybe. Hey,
Party
Moana
Sunday.
Crusaders, I think I might be there.
Ooh.
Might be there for Moana
To watch
Crusaders.
all the players that you don't know the names of.
Yeah. 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 Exactly.
That'll be a great game.
It would be.
Moana Blues, even. The Derby of the Bridge, you could call it now that they're on opposite
Battle
sides
of the Bridge. Sort of like North
Battle
Harbour
of the
versus Auckland. However, Moana's not exactly New Zealand based technically.
Yeah.
Moving on. NRL action is back. How good. The New Zealand Warriors, after a very, very rough start to the year in Vegas, a blowout against the Canberra Raiders. I think there might have been more drinking done on that trip than tries scored. They only scored 2 tries in Vegas. A massive bounce-back win for the boys against the Manly Sea Eagles, who a lot of pundits have had finishing in the top 4 this year, early on. 36-16, a massive bounce-back win. We were relatively heavy outsiders too, the Warriors, in front of a big, loyal fan base at Go Media Mount Smart. A massive win. Luke Metcalf looked excellent in the 7 jersey. People have been criticising him already, but he looked really good. And they play the Roosters this coming weekend, who got a massive win over Penrith, may I add, which was not expected at all. However, going into this game against the Roosters, we should be favourites, and I think we should win. But good to have NRL back.
I've never been the biggest NRL fan. I think I've said that in the past, but I did actually watch this game, and I said I made a commitment that I'd be a bit more invested in the NRL this season, considering all my friends are big NRL supporters. So yeah, this might be the start of Will Tremaine hopping on the Warriors bandwagon if we can keep winning. Otherwise, I might go and choose Penrith to be my team.
That's crazy.
But
that is an ultimate bandwagon. You can jump on the Up the Wars train. It's
up the
alright.
Wars, baby.
Up the
Up the
Wars.
Wars.
You know who's a massive Wars fan that we've had on the show?
Josh Hoyman.
Yes,
Yeah.
Huge, die-hard, some could say, actually.
Yeah, I always see him posting on his Instagram.
Yeah, huge Warriors fan.
Big Warriors fan.
Massive Warriors fan. Black Caps, T20I series against Pakistan, bit of a Mickey Mouse series in my opinion. A lot of players that didn't play in the Champions Trophy will be featuring in this. Jacob Duffy, Carl Jameson were very good today with the ball. Bowled Pakistan all out for 91 in the 19th over and chased them down within about 10. Half the game. A huge, well, I would say a huge win. An easy win for the Black Caps. I think it was in Hagley Oval in Christchurch. A good start. They play their second game out of 5 in Dunedin on Tuesday. The weather looks woeful. I have a feeling I might get called off. So not great there. However, good to see the boys get a win. I love cricket, even though it's getting colder and colder. I don't know why they're still playing.
That will be a sport that I unfortunately think I might not be able to get behind as much as the NRL. Unfortunately,
You know, it's my second favourite sport,
after basketball.
Yeah.
Wow.
Cricket is my second
I
favourite
thought
sport.
NRL was second for you.
It used to
Close.
be, and then for some reason cricket just grabbed me by the scruff of the neck and said, "You're mine."
I don't mind watching like some T20 games, but
Yeah.
those test games, man, I just
Hey,
can't sit
Test
through one
cricket,
of those.
best form of cricket.
Just like constant dots and singles. I don't know how you find that
it's
entertaining.
just-
I'm
it's
sorry.
just- you just gotta know. If you know, you know. If you
A
know, you
sport
know.
I am a bit more invested in though, Finn. Formula One.
Oh yeah.
Back underway. Liam Lawson, obviously racing for
Red
Red
Bull.
Bull, the top team this year, alongside Max Verstappen, which is a little bit unfortunate for whoever gets put next to him, because you're not going to look good, unfortunately. And yeah, it was kind of evident in first qualifying of the year at Melbourne, the Aussie Open. Finished 18th, so rough outing in the qualifying. Started from the pit lane. They're currently racing right now.
Oh, he's on screen.
He's on screen.
Please tell me he didn't crash.
He's got up to 15th, so it looks
Oh.
like he's overtaken a few people. So good showing to start out the race for him. Already 3 people crashed out in the wet conditions.
Yeah.
Norris and Verstappen, I think they're 1 and 2 at the moment, so it's looking like this year might be another Norris-Verstappen battle for the title. But interesting, we'll keep up to date with that. But that's all for the world news this week, guys. We've got quite a lot of basketball.
something I wanted to touch on before we move on.
Yeah.
Joseph Parker, Alexander Usyk.
True.
That is
Yeah.
confirmed, no?
Not like in writing confirmed, but the WBO, I think it is, one of the 4 boxing organizations, has ordered it as the mandatory defense for Usyk next
Love it.
for one of his belts, being that Joseph Parker is the interim champion. So I think this is much deserved. Dubois obviously pulled out of his fight with Joseph Parker, which was the clear-cut #1 contender fight. And I think Joseph can't be, taking away that opportunity just because he didn't fight Dubois. He's still got a 3rd round knockout, I think it was, over Martin Bacole, and he's definitely deserving of fighting Usyk for
I
all the
saw
championships.
all of this. I don't really know. I'm not very familiar with how boxing works, but the whole Daniel Dubois, Joseph Parker, I'll call it a scandal. Why don't we?
Yeah.
Daniel Dubois pulls out literally 2 days before the fight for sickness, illness, or whatever.
Even less. It was
And
like
then-
a day.
Yeah, and then I seen that Daniel Dubois was like, "I'm not rescheduling, so I'm going straight to Usyk."
Yeah.
So that's not happening anymore.
It's not look well. It could still potentially happen, but I think the WBO would strip Usyk of his WBO belt if he doesn't fight Parker,
Good.
because Usyk holds all 4 of the belts.
Okay.
So it's just one of those belts has ordered him to fight Joseph Parker.
Okay.
So he could vacate it and be like, stuff you, I'm taking the big money paycheck against Daniel Dubois. But I think, being that Usyk seems to be a nice, humble guy from Ukraine, I think he'll defend against Joseph Parker, because he's the most deserving person. In the meantime, run Daniel Dubois versus Agit Kabayel, who's a very good up-and-coming boxer from Germany.
Okay.
So yeah, I think that's what's got to happen. But also, on the note of boxing, Dana White, the UFC president, and Turki Al-Sheikh, the Saudi, I think he's a prince or a king, don't quote me on that. One of them. Anyway, he's got lots of money, and he's been funding all these big
Shitloads of
boxing
money.
fights the last few years. They've combined, and they've created, they're creating a new boxing league, where it's just going to be 1 champion per weight division, like the UFC, and they're going to get all the big money fights because of Turkey. So
Awesome.
keep up to date with that.
That's good.
And they've also announced they're going to do an event in Saudi Arabia next year, I think, where it's going to be UFC, boxing and WWE
in
all
one
on the
night,
same card on
That's
one
so
night.
crazy.
That will be very entertaining if it does come to fruition.
That's the one thing with boxing that confuses the living shit out of me. Why is there so many belts?
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand it
insane.
at all. MMA, you got the UFC, and you might have a couple other ones. I think One, is that what it's called?
Yeah, those are separate
Yeah,
organizations.
they're all separate organizations, and you
But
can only
the UFC
fight for
is the
one. And
clear-cut
UFC
top.
is, yeah, so everyone knows the best MMA fighting is in UFC.
Yeah.
Boxing is so confusing. Like,
Yeah.
Joseph Parker has belts currently,
Yeah,
does
the
he not?
interim championship.
It's,
Yeah.
it's just so confusing. It's so
Very
confusing.
silly.
But
You've got 4
Joseph-
belts per division,
Hey.
and there's like 20 divisions.
Shout out Joseph Parker, though, in the
Yeah.
form of his life, in my
100%.
opinion. He's doing very well. And that is all for the world news today. NBL action, it's still on, regardless of, Sal's NBL starting, which we're going to start covering. We've got a massive little breakdown on the episode today. But if we circle back to Game 2, which I don't think that would have been... No, we didn't get to cover it, did we?
No, we didn't. We just covered game 1 in the last episode.
That's right.
So,
And we had a strong feeling that we thought Melbourne would have potentially
Close
won
it
up
out.
2-0.
yeah.
What happened?
Illawarra came out on top in this one, 102-100.
Damn.
Very, very close game. And this was obviously in Melbourne. So Illawarra have retaken home court advantage, which is massive. 1-1, going back home to Illawarra for Game 3, which takes place tonight. Unfortunately, we don't have time to cover it to record this episode after the game, so
Yeah.
we're not going to be able to
Sadly.
break down that game for you guys in this
Sorry,
episode.
guys.
Next episode, though, Game 3 will be wrapped up, possibly Game 4 as well. Is that
Yeah.
happening midweek, I think?
Probably. Highly likely.
So, yeah, could be all over by the next episode. But, Illawarra tie up this one. Ian Clark for Melbourne, I want to point him out, off the bench, yet again, as he has done all
Going
season.
Crazy, bro.
31 points, top scorer for Melbourne. Chris Golding only had 17 in this one. But, yeah, Ian Clark, 31, 10 for 16 shooting. So,
Damn.
very efficient as well. But, yeah, Illawarra came out with a 2-point win. Who stood out for Illawarra in this one, Finn?
Tyler Harvey, I want to show. I think he had 27 on the night. He hit a crazy, crazy three-pointer to ice the game. They were down 1. Catches it on the wing, sizing him up, just pulls it in Ian Clark's face. Ian Clark's like, what the heck? Didn't see this one coming. Splash. That was the game. 5 seconds left in the clock, and Melbourne weren't able to equalise, and that was the game. Sam Froling, also a very good game from him. He's doing very well, and we have a little story about his brother later on in the episode, so stay tuned for that.
Yeah.
But it's great to see Illawarra tying up the series, more basketball that we get to watch, get to cover, and something that's like I've noticed in this series so far is the battle of the coaches. In Game 1, Dean Vickerman got the upper hand. Changed his lineup a bit, managed to get the upper hand in Illawarra. In the next game, Justin Tatum threw out a bit of a a bit of a different game plan. He ran with Lockie Ulbrich and Sam Froling for a lot of this game, running that 2 big man action, running a little high-low in the paint, worked an absolute wonder, got them boys the win. I'm loving it. Obviously, the biggest players in these teams are going crazy, Will, but the coaching battle we're seeing right now is awesome.
I mean, I know Tyler Harvey did hit that game winner, but him and Trey Kell actually combined for 42. So, good scoring nights, but they were combined 14 for 39, Finn.
Ugh.
So, very poor efficiency between the two of them. I mean, that's almost a blessing in disguise, though, knowing that you can win with them shooting like that. We obviously saw them lose a game earlier on in the previous round when they had a poor outing. But if they just make a few more of those shots in the next few games against Melbourne, they can ice out this series quite handily, in my opinion. So, I mean, I'd be optimistic as Illawarra fans going back home and then Game 4 in Melbourne, potentially closing it out. If not, of course,
Back to Illawarra.
Game 5, decider. It's going to be very entertaining, Finn.
Oh, absolutely. And as Will alluded to earlier on, the game is tonight. When this episode goes up, Game 3 result will be done.
Yeah.
However, unfortunately, just the circumstances.
Scheduling conflicts.
We aren't able to watch the game before we record tonight, sadly. However, like you said, we will be covering it the next game. However, predictions, Will.
I'm thinking, back in Illawarra, I'm going with Illawarra in this one, Finn. Back home, I think they hold on to home court advantage. I just don't see the away team winning 3 times in a row to start out the series. So I'm calling it for Illawarra. But then I do think Melbourne win Game 4, and Game 5, I think that's anyone's. So I think we will be seeing a Game 5 in this series.
Okay.
I'm going to go with a fairly comfortable win for Illawarra in this one. maybe like 110-92.
Oh,
Yeah.
18-point win.
18-point win.
Who's popping off? You just going to see a little bit of a bounce-back game from Trey Cal?
I'm saying Trey Cal. Trey Cal it's underperformed slightly in the first couple games, so I think he's going to retake the reins and show that he is that MVP candidate that he was for most of the season.
Yeah.
I'm going to say a 30-piece for Trey Cal.
Yeah?
Yeah. What are you seeing, Finn? And I think Ian Clark is going to have another 20-plus point game off the bench
Mr.
for Melbourne.
Consistent, Ian Clark, for sure. I'm sensing Illawarra here, which is crazy because in both games we predicted the home team would win, and they both win and lost.
Third time
However,
lucky, right?
third time lucky. Illawarra taking the momentum back from John Cain Arena
Yeah.
back to Illawarra. We say it every time. Trey Cal, Tyler Harvey can't have bad games. Obviously, Tyler Harvey had a pretty damn good game in Game 2. Efficiently, not the best efficiency, of course. Sam Froling picked up a bit of weight.
Yeah.
I'm thinking both of them are going to have a big game in front of their home crowd, and arguably, probably the most important game in the series so far.
Yeah. Definitely.
I think Illawarra potentially get a... I don't think it's going to be a comfortable win. Because I think Chris Golding's going to show up and do Chris Golding things. I think Ian Clark's going to be Mr. Consistent and do Ian Clark things. However, I think the rest of Illawarra's supporting cast around Trey Cal and Tyler Harvey. Sam Froling's been very good.
Yeah.
I'm going to sense a decent game from Will Hickey.
Oh, okay.
Tuatara import, who will be here soon. Thinking a little bit of a spark plug off the bench for him. Hai Jung Lee's going to hit a couple threes.
Hai Jung Lee.
Hai Jung Lee's going to hit a couple threes. And Lockie Olbricht's going to have a solid game, the youngster who won Cells NBL MVP last season, I think.
What are you going with the scoreline, Finn? I've chucked one out there. You got to chuck one out there, mate.
I'm still thinking higher scoring.
Yeah.
I'm thinking like 107, 99. Illawarra.
Okay, so a bit closer than my liking.
Close. I think it's going to be close, but I think Illawarra are going to slightly get over them. It's going to be a bit of a run, first quarter.
Yeah.
Illawarra go up. Melbourne bring it back in the second. They go back and forth in the third, and then in the back end of the fourth quarter,
I'll keep this up.
Trey Cal, Tyler Harvey. Yes. Just a few big shots down the stretch.
No way.
And they're gonna probably get up in game 3 in front of their home fans.
Wow, that was just mesmerising watching you speak there, Finn James. Honestly. Should we talk about Xavier Cooks?
Oh my god. How many episodes was it ago that this report came out about Xavier Cooks? It was a fair amount. I'd say
probably a month and a bit.
It was around play-in tournament time, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Because he played a game and they
lost.
They lost, but then we're going to play in the other play-in tournament game, and he didn't play because they had the report come out. And it was technically only a 1-game suspension at the time because they thought it was PEDs. They weren't aware of what was in his system, but they knew something was coming up.
It was cocaine.
Cocaine.
So he wasn't intentionally trying to cheat and get better. I think that's what we can take away from this.
Is he taking coke before? It's just in his system. So
just in his system. He probably went on a night out.
Yeah.
Had a couple lines. Silly boy. Can I not say that?
I don't know. You probably can. It's a podcast. You can actually say anything.
I mean, free speech.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah, but still shouldn't be doing that.
No,
I mean, you're an athlete. Should not be doing drugs.
Hey, tell it to Reece Walsh, bro. He was on
Damn,
when he was in the Warriors days.
Fired.
He's a beast now. What are your thoughts on this, though? To be honest, I don't know. Is 1 month enough for this? And is this also 1 month?
Bro.
Is this 1 month now, or is this 1 month when NBL 26 runs back around next year?
I think from an athlete point of view, like, not that I am an athlete, but from like an athlete's point of view, I think it's not as bad as PEDs. PEDs would be worse because then he's intentionally trying to get better and cheat the system. So I mean, from a human point of view, though, like, cocaine's not good. It's illegal for a reason. He shouldn't be doing it, and it was caught in his system, so he's got to face the consequences for that. But I think 1 month, I think that's fair for cocaine. I mean, I thought originally it was PEDs, and I was thinking like longer term suspension.
Yeah,
I think this is fair. Is this 1 month from now whilst they have no basketball, or for the start of next season?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to wrap my head around. Like, I know Xavier Cooks a few years ago, might have been like 4 or 5 years, 3 years ago, in the off season, a lot of Australians come to the Cells NBL because they don't overlap, and he was still playing. However, I think he's probably in the situation now after getting NBA money, and probably getting paid a pretty decent penny playing for Sydney, I'd assume he's probably going to take the off-season as an off-season. I don't think he's actually going to be playing professional basketball in the NBL off-season, which a lot of other players do, because I think he's got some coin behind him now. Unless he is, I'm not sure. If he is, then that 1 month suspension might only be served in whatever league he's playing in now. And in my opinion, I'm not a big fan of that.
No.
Because I think he should be serving the suspension for the NBL, not whatever other league he's in.
I agree.
Bit ignorant of us not to do some research, to be honest.
No, I think it only makes sense for it to be the start of the next NBL season that he misses a month of.
And how many games is that? And does preseason take into account for this, do you think? Because if it does, then he's only going to miss maybe like a handful of games. Yeah.
I mean, if it takes place from right now, then he's missed nothing.
Yeah.
Because, like, what's he going to play in the next month that's, like, meaningful?
Any other leagues going around. I mean,
Yeah, but he doesn't need to anyway.
No, that's what I'm saying. He's probably got enough coin.
I think it should start from game 1 of the Sydney Kings' first game next season, in my opinion.
Regular
so he'd
season,
miss, what's that? If they played 4 games in 4 weeks, he misses 4
He might
games.
have a couple double headers. I think he'd miss 5 games, maybe.
Yeah, 5 or 6 games.
Yeah.
I think that would be
that's fair.
Yeah.
It's an interesting one, right? Because it's not a PED. If it's a PED, I think he misses a whole season.
I mean, if he was a Breakers player, I'd be saying shouldn't be any suspension. Games.
What if PJC re-signed and this came out about him? Nah, no games, guys. No games. No games. PJC, you're fine.
Let him play first game. But being a Sydney player, should have got a season ban. To be fair, anyone who's not a breaker, get a season ban. Let us win the whole thing.
If it was a PED though, would you expect a season ban?
A PED, I'd expect a season ban because that shows that he was blatantly trying to cheat to get better.
Yeah.
Cocaine. Who knows if it gives you performance enhancements during a game?
Yeah, I wouldn't have a clue.
I doubt he took it before a game. I'm just speculating here, but more than likely he just took some cocaine on a night out in Sydney. So
that would
make sense.
It kind of leans towards that, right?
Yeah.
You would think so? I mean, Australia, New Zealand culture, how it sort of is. That's a whole other can of worms.
But anyway, he'll do his time, and he'll probably be back as one of the best players in the NBL still.
Yeah, highly likely.
That's it for the NBL. We'll be breaking down Game 3 and Game 4 on the next episode. But we got some NZNBL to get into this week.
Yes, sir.
Sal's
NBL. It's here.
We want to quickly run through the scores of the games, and then we'll get a bit more in depth with it.
Long awaited, of course.
Yeah.
I've been waiting for this day for a while. I know you haven't really been as invested in the league in previous years compared to myself, who
Not
I feel
as
like,
much.
Not as much, and you know what? That's completely fine.
But this year,
It's time to start.
we're locking in, boys.
It's time to start.
We're locking in. Finn James and Will Tremaine will be going to every single Auckland Tuatara home game
Oh yeah.
that there is, and potentially we'll go to some Franklin Bulls home games
I
as
think
well.
so.
Down in
Stockyard.
the Stockyard, Pukekohe. So yeah, stay tuned for those. Maybe we'll give some live updates on our Instagram and TikTok accounts. So if you'd like to see those, let us know down below. But the games. Been interesting first week, Finn, hasn't it? You got the Rapid League, you got the main games, the Sal's NBL games, I should call them.
Yeah.
What was the first game that got us underway with NZNBL 2025?
The most random game in them all, the Hawke's Bay Hawks versus the newly introduced team, the Indian Panthers.
Who didn't really have any Indians? Can I say that? I didn't notice any Indian players on the team, so
Yeah.
kind of defeated the purpose.
Bit of a
but-
buzzy one, eh?
Yeah, I
So-
think they'll be getting them in though, right?
I think they're here now.
Okay.
So it was a 112-78 win for the Hawke's Bay Hawks. A blowout. What's
Yeah.
that, 34 points?
Yeah.
No Indian players played on the team, from my understanding, because the 10 rostered Indian players on the Indian Panthers were still in India.
In the Indian League.
They were finishing their the INBL Pro League, I think it's called, and then they had a Indian national team camp as they are trying to prepare themselves to make the Asia Cup because they still have qualifiers, I think. Something random. But they missed the first game,
Yeah.
which personally, not a great start to your organization.
Yeah.
No hate to the Indian Panthers. They strung together a team of local hoopers, past Sal's NBL players or thereabouts,
Yeah.
I'd say. Like Leon Henry made a feature,
Okay.
who has played
Played for
like
the Bulls.
over. I think he's played over 10 seasons in the NBL because he's a veteran.
Yeah.
He made a feature along with some other players too. They were never going to win. Most of the players only met on game day down in the Hawke's Bay. And funnily enough, they won the first quarter. So that was a shock, I'm sure, to the Hawke's Bay Hawks. But
Yeah. One guy individually stood out in this one, though, Finn.
Oh, yeah.
Jackson Bull. 40-piece to start out the season. Followed by, they had another game against Manawatu a little bit later on. And he dropped 36 in that one. So 38 points per game across the first two for Jackson Bull. He's 17 years old, Finn. This guy is insane. A potential candidate early on for MVP of the season.
Right.
And who knows? The sky's the limit for this kid. I mean, NBL teams are going to be jumping at the bit to try and sign him.
Yeah.
But he's obviously going to college.
Yeah.
So there's even aspirations of the league, the NBA, for this kid. I mean, if he keeps this up. Insane outing.
Jackson Bull is a demon, bro.
Yeah.
He's 17. It's actually insane. I know what I was doing at 17. I wasn't doing that. I think he's newly turned 17 too. I think he turned 17 this year. He's led the way in back-to-back games for the Hawks in the space of 4 days.
Yeah.
Wednesday and Saturday night. He's a demon. He's a demon. He's got a full ride D1 contract to Wisconsin for next season. So he's in year 13 now. He might have just finished year 13. I have no idea, to be honest with you. But
could have gone into year 13 this year.
He might have actually. That would make more sense.
17.
So he's committed to Wisconsin for a Division 1 scholarship, assistant coached by Kirk Penny. Hayden Jones from the Nelson Giants will also be joining him there. However, Jackson Ball is an absolute demon. Great three-point shooter.
Let's get a demon counter at the top of this video here, because I think Finn James has said it about 5 times, which is valid.
Very valid.
Yeah.
Have you seen the efficiency that he is shooting and scoring the basketball as well? It's 70% from the field.
It's insane.
It's ridiculous. He shoots the ball from 3 well. He's athletic. He's fast. He can score at the rim with will. I don't know.
3-level scorer. I mean, and most importantly, these have been in both wins for the Hawks. So
yeah,
the Hawks early on, top of the table, Sal's NBL. So they'll be looking for the title this year potentially.
Early doors.
Early doors. Some other games. Tauranga Fire, 86. Canterbury Rams, 70. Bit of an upset.
Massive upset.
Yeah.
Canterbury Rams are back-to-back champions, looking to three-peat this year. Tauranga Fire, inaugural season last season. I wouldn't call it disappointing. It was their first year. They did okay.
Yeah.
Relatively similar roster going into this season with new imports. But Cruz Pero Hunt returns. I think he dropped 27 in this one.
Yeah.
And got a 16-point win over the reigning champs. And then, Canterbury Rams, the reason they've been so good in previous years is because of their local core. Taylor Britt, Max Darling, Toy Smith Milner there this year as well. They just struggled. Only 70 points in the game, not ideal, but a huge win for the Tauranga Fire in their opening round. Good to see.
Southland Sharks, Otago Nuggets. The battle of the what do you call that? The two most southern teams in New Zealand. The Deep South. Battle of the Deep South. Blowout win for the Sharks here, 98 to Otago's 70. Josiah Alec. Am I saying that right, Finn?
I think so.
26 points on the night, 11 boards. So I mean, what a great start to the season for this kid. Very athletic.
I wouldn't call him a kid. He's a growing ass man.
No, he's like,
I don't know how old he is. He's
not,
an import.
Not like 30s. Not 30s.
He's an import.
I'm still calling people 30 and under in their 20s. Maybe that's a bit far for kid, but
a little bit.
He's a beast.
We'll
go with that.
He's great.
He's a demon.
Nah, Jackson Ball only gets demon counter.
Only Jackson Ball?
At the moment.
No, I got another guy I'm going to give it to later on.
Josiah Alec, like Will said, I think he got 5 or 6 dunks in this game.
Yeah.
Snagging boards. He's a relatively undersized big, but that sort of works in these smaller leagues. Very athletic. And this is a great win for Southland because, man, they struggled last year. Bottom of the table. Didn't look coherent at all. They brought in a new coach as well, Jonathan Yim, an American. I think he's Asian. I'm not sure. I don't want to get cancelled. But he's from the States, and he's come in and, already injected a great win. Otago are a little bit short-handed to start this year, I think. So, not surprised that they couldn't get up. Christian Martin from Westlake Boys High School, 16 points in the night as well.
True.
Making a comeback after a 2-year hiatus on a mission. So, already back in the league, doing his thing. Obviously, he had a little stint at Franklin before he went away. So, good to see him already back in the league too. Really good start for Southland. I didn't honestly expect this one. Josiah Alec, beast. Honestly, he's going to be fun to watch this year, I think.
Hawke's Bay, Manawatu. 103 for Hawke's Bay, 100 to Manawatu.
Great.
Again, Jackson Bull, 36 points, like we mentioned before. Did you mention he's 17, Finn?
I think so.
Did you?
He's 17! Stephen A. He's averaging 40! No.
Corey Webster for Manawatu led them in this one with 32 points. So good to see the vet getting his shots up still, and Dante Russo-Nance as well.
Yeah,
he had 25 points.
Yeah.
So, and also another friend, Tinashe. He played in his debut for the Jets as well in this one.
Good to see.
So yeah, good on him. But the game of the round for both of us, I think, Finn.
Yeah.
Franklin Bulls, Auckland Tuatara. We got down there to watch it. Like we said, we'll be going to all the home games. And good friend of the podcast, Dylan Wilkie. Can we just give him a round of applause first, then? What a outing in his first game for the Tuatara. Finished with a game high 17 in the Rapid League.
Yeah, he was.
We got there nice and early to watch it.
He played all 16 minutes in the Rapid League.
Could not miss.
And then went and played 21 minutes off the bench in the Sal's NBL game.
37-minute night. 7 for 9 shooting in the Rapid League game.
Oh, he was cooking, man.
Absolutely cooking. Game high out of anyone. And they got the job done in that one. I think it was like 42-29 or something.
It was an easy win for them.
And then following on to the Sal's NBL game, Franklin got the upper hand in this one over the Tuatara, 81-62. It was close at points in that game, but then they just went on a bit of a run. I think it was towards the end of the second quarter, start of the third quarter, and the Tuatara couldn't pull it back. But Dylan, again, got good minutes, 6th man off the bench, finished with 12 points in that one. I think second top scorer for Tuatara, 4 for 8 from 3. So he's showing that he's a sniper.
Great. I think somebody said they were calling him Silky Wilkie on the broadcast as well.
Well, I'm calling him Demon. That's the guy I was waiting to say as a Demon as well.
This is, honestly, we're biased because he's one of our very close friends and friend of the podcast, of course, but absolutely, it's just great to see somebody who has grinded his ass off to get into this position. I mean, no disrespect to the leagues he was playing in before. The Big V is a great league, don't get me wrong, but, he's gone overseas, played 2 seasons in the Big V, 1 in the NBL 1. And he's come back, and Coach Cam Glidden really liked him, and Dylan signed for the season for the Tuatara. Obviously, we had him on, and the first outing, obviously, we have to get down. One of our boys, and just to see him do his thing, bro, shoot the ball. That's what he loves to do, man.
He's a sniper, bro.
Shot well, and they were overplaying him. I think he's gonna earn some more minutes. Obviously, the Tuatara 62 points in a game is unacceptable in a 10-minute quarter basketball game. However, they're obviously missing a few pieces in Rob Lowe and Will Hickey, who will be there in the near future.
The imports did look impressive at points as well.
Charles Pride and Tuak, or I think his name is.
That guy's athletic, bro.
Super bouncy.
There were some near posters in that game that got us on the edge of our seats.
Tommy V in this one as well went down with an injury early on, so I think that's how Dylan slowly got some more minutes up.
But I mean, he's just showing that he's probably going to be up there with best efficiency from 3 for anyone in the league, and the best total threes, I think, throughout the whole season. If he shoots like he didn't. No, we're not jinxing him, bro. He's worked on this, so he knows what he's doing. Shout out Dill. Honestly.
Shout out Dylan.
We're proud of you, bro.
However, from an Auckland Tuatara fan standpoint, as a whole, sort of unacceptable how they only scored 62 points. Franklin had the better team. I mean, Ruben Tarangi was there.
Yeah.
Their import, Tay Hardy, 30 points on the night. Was
crazy.
Cooking, bro. Nobody could stop him, so he went crazy as well. And it was just a game that sort of slipped away from them, like you said, in the back end of the second quarter. The Auckland Derby as well.
There'll be another one, next one down in Franklin that we'll have to definitely get along to that.
I think when Rob Lowe and Will Hickey come in, I think this Auckland Tuatara team is going to be quite competitive, though. Rob Lowe is a former Sal's NBL MVP not long ago.
He's going to be averaging in the 20s for that. So there's another 20-something points right there for your team.
I think Will Hickey as well will be up there in the 20 points per game. He played in the NBL 1 last season for Dylan's old team, the Wodonga Bandits, and went absolutely crazy. So I'm thinking in these smaller leagues where Will Hickey can get the ball in his hands, he's going to be quite good. I'm pretty sure he'll be running the point over at Tuatara as well. I think that's something they lacked.
Yeah.
The young gun Josh Wiley, first of all,
he
impressed me
very well.
Maybe not the scoring front, but as a young, I think he might be 18 or 19.
Yeah.
He held his own against Tay Hardy for sure.
Yeah, we were saying when we were watching that live, no disrespect to Josh Wiley, but as we were watching Tay Hardy, he got the assignment of Tay Hardy, the best player on the Franklin Bulls, who went off for 30 points and 7 dimes. And there were moments where he'd drive on Josh, and we just were like, oh, he's about to bump him off and get a layup. Nope. He held his ground, stood there. Great defense. I think he forced a couple turnovers on him.
Yeah.
And yeah, just understands the game very well, you can see. Making the right passes, so he's one to watch as well. And getting the start, that's big for a young guy as well.
Something that Adam said last night, you were at the game as well. He said you can just tell that Josh Wiley is very disciplined. Like, you can tell he works really hard and is very well disciplined. And like, I didn't even see him throw a single turnover. I don't think the whole game. He probably did. Don't get me wrong, but from watching and not looking at the box score throughout the game, very disciplined. Didn't make a lot of mistakes, which is exactly what you want from somebody who's so young.
He didn't take many shots either, but the ones that he did take were like smart shots. He had that nice and one. He kind of gives me, obviously this isn't an insane comparison, but like current Spurs Chris Paul, just like a very smart player, makes the right passes.
That is insane.
Puts in, yeah, obviously like not on the same level as Chris Paul, but like just I'm trying to think of an NBA player off the top of my head to compare these guys to.
Yeah.
So I mean that's just what came to the front of my head. I mean stands there, can take a charge, great defender for his size. I mean, yeah, definitely one to watch.
He's going to have a future in hoops for sure. I think he's done very well. And the game that just wrapped up before we went live on the pod, double overtime thriller between the Taranaki Airs and the Wellington Saints. This game was insane. Well, double overtime in round one is just what you want to see. The Airs got up 115, 110 in double OT. Carlin Davidson, Breakers development player, 36 points, man.
And he had that two-hand windmill dunk hung on the rim. That was insane. This guy's extremely athletic. I think if the Airs can keep getting wins like this, he's one to put in that MVP conversation.
They're going to be a good team. They're going to be a good team down the stretch. And one player that I wanted to highlight, absolutely. We talked about Sam Froling on Illawarra.
His brother
Harry Froling. This is his first basketball game professionally in 786 days, Will.
What did he finish with, Finn?
32 points and 12 rebounds. And his round of applause to Harry. So
we'll get into it, his story.
This is a remarkable story. I actually didn't know this was his story. Obviously, I recognized his name because of his brother.
Yeah.
They don't really look very similar, but they're both very big.
Do we need a reference where we got these sources from?
No, because this is a true story. Must have been like 2.5 years ago or whatever. He was playing in the NBL for the Brisbane Bullets, and he played his brother Sam when he was playing for Wollongong in the Illawarra. And they went on a night out with each other, and Harry got punched in the face.
Sucker punched. Disgusting. There's a video of it.
There's a video of it as well, yeah. Suffered a skull fracture and a brain bleed, and was in hospital for 10 days.
Had to drain the blood out of his head.
A 10 centimeter by 10 centimeter hole in his skull to drain the blood from his brain bleed.
Yeah.
And the neurosurgeons told him that he would never play basketball again. 786 days after his last professional game, he's back on the court and he scored 32 points and 12 rebounds.
Yeah.
Insane. Congratulations to Harry Froling.
Happy
Obviously,
to see you, bro.
Don't know you personally or whatever, but this is an incredible story, and I think this should be highlighted absolutely. And all the best for the future. I don't think he's playing on the Airs for the whole season. I think he's only here for a short amount of time until he heads over to an NBL 1 team. But I'm pretty sure, if I'm not mistaken, Sam, his brother, is actually coming over to play for the Airs after the NBL's done.
Hopefully the Airs come up to Auckland before he leaves, so we can get along and watch that game. That'll be a good one.
Yeah. Great from Harry Froling. Just a remarkable story, and it's a great story that you just love to see. Absolutely love to see. And the Cells NBL is, like I said, an underrated league. I've said it before. And it's already impressed me in round one. And I'm already hooked. So it's good to see. However, we'll move on. NBA. The NBA. We'll close out on this. What are we, about 15 games away from the playoffs?
Yeah.
How's it shaping up?
I'll start this out, Finn.
Okay.
I'm calling it on the Blazers season.
Oh.
I'm calling it. Yeah. There is mathematically a chance we can get to that 10 spot and in the play-in, but realistically, what's that going to do for us? We win that game, we still have to win another one to make the playoffs, and even then, we'd be playing the Oklahoma City Thunder and would get swept in 4. So, I'm calling it. I've hit up the GM.
Oh, have you?
I've hit up Chauncey Billups.
Yep.
I've hit up Anthony Simons.
Oh.
Actually, no, I don't want Anthony Simons to struggle. But I've told all the
Jeremy
coaching
Grant.
staff- yeah, Jeremy Grant. I've hit him up, told him to take
Denny
40
Advia.
shots per game. Delano Banton.
Delano Banton.
I like Denny now. I like Denny.
Okay.
But yeah, lose. That's the only thing I want to see from the Blazers
Tank
for
for
the rest
flag?
of the season. Tank for flag.
It's in full effect.
We're a bit too good for that. We're not going to drop below like the Pels or the Jazz or all those Eastern Conference bums. But, I mean, maybe like a good 7th, 8th pick in the draft. I'd be happy with that. Could sneak into the top 5. That'd be good. Maybe like an Ace Bailey, Dylan Harper. Don't get me excited now, Finn. But, yeah, that's what I want. Our season's done. But we're looking like this season's Houston Rockets for next season. So I'm happy.
Okay.
I'm happy and I'm optimistic.
Speaking of tanking, I think the Spurs are tanking for flag too.
They are.
Darren Fox, season-ending injury on his pinky.
It's pinky.
He had tendon damage in his
fair.
pinky. His left pinky, his shooting hand. He's out for the rest of the year. I think there's obviously when Wemby went out, they weren't really going to make a run in the playoffs without Wemby.
What's gonna happen next, Finn? Breaking news: Stephon Castle got scratched, out for the rest of the season.
Oh my god.
Devin Vassell got a headache.
You know
He's
what?
out.
You know what's funny about the whole tendon damage in his pinky thing? He's had it since the start of the year, apparently. So, like, I guess they're wrapping up the season. Darren, go get your surgery. Be back healthy for camp next year. But hey, drop some games, Spurs. Like to see Cooper Flag play with Wemby next year.
If the Spurs get Cooper Flag, I'm boycotting the entire NBA for next season. We will
What
not.
would you do?
We will not be covering the NBA on the Fast Break podcast.
Did you hear that, Adam
next
Silver?
year.
Adam Silver, did you hear that?
You cannot lose us, Adam Singer. I mean,
Adam Singer.
Adam Silver. You cannot lose us as the greatest basketball podcast on planet Earth. So make sure the Spurs do not get Cooper Flag. Maybe chuck them to the Blazers. But yeah, that's it for the Blazers and for the tanking teams. What about what's happening with the Clippers, Finn? A team a bit better. Not the best, but what's happening?
It's currently sitting in the 8th seed, 36 for 30, which in any other season would probably have us above the 8th seed, just quietly, I reckon. We're on a 2-game win streak. We've got the Charlotte Hornets tomorrow. Should be an easy win.
3 games.
That's 3 in a row. Norm's been out for a while with hamstring soreness. He's questionable for tomorrow's game, so he might be returning. But sadly, during the stint that he's been out with his hamstring, he's now unqualified to win MIP for the year because he hasn't played enough games, which is very sad because I think he was a front runner, in my personal opinion.
That's a bit
But
unfortunate.
Norm's returning. James Harden and Ivica Zubac have been in red-hot form. Kawhi Leonard's been playing some good basketball, and the supporting cast has been okay. However, we need the Warriors to lose games. We need the Timberwolves to lose games.
I could see you jumping the Timberwolves, but I don't think
I
you're
don't know
jumping
about
the
the
Warriors.
Warriors,
They've been
yeah.
looking too good recently, bro.
I know,
As much as it pains me to watch. Hate the Warriors.
I think we're like 2 games, or maybe 2.5 games behind.
Yeah.
So,
With 15 to go.
15 to go. String together some wins here. I don't know what our schedule's looking like.
You got a
but
free win tomorrow. So.
we say that. Actually, no. Do they even have LaMelo?
Yeah, they do.
right?
LaMelo's back. Still free win. Anyway, it's going to be interesting
It will
watching
be.
the rest of the season play out. Quickly, we'll go over our MVP, the update.
Oh my god.
Closest race we've had in recent years.
I think so.
SGA, Jokic. I've, for most of the season, been on the Jokic train, I'll admit. The last few weeks, I'm not going to lie, I'm starting to shift to the SGA bandwagon a bit.
Really?
When I just look at the team record. I mean, for example, today, Jokic, 40 points on the night. Insane. I'm like, yeah, MVP. And then I checked, what did Shea have today? 48. They're just going back and forth. Like, Jokic does something incredible. Shea's like, I'll do one better. So, I mean, for me, I'm like as down the middle as you can get at the moment. But being someone that takes team record into things quite a bit, I'm starting to lean Shea. I'm not going to lie.
Okay.
What about you, Finn?
I've been on the SGA train this whole year, and then Jokic pulls out a 30-20-20 out of his ass, and all of a sudden I'm like, ooh, fucking 180. Jokic might win his, fifth and
5 years. Fourth and 5 years.
Fourth in 5 years. It could definitely happen. But I think with 15 games left, it could go either way.
Could.
I'm not sure where I'm leaning to.
Is deserved. So
Absolutely.
maybe give it to SGA just because he hasn't won it yet. But then at the same
If
time,
voters fatigue exists for LeBron, it should exist for Jokic too, and SGA should win one.
yeah. But if Jokic wins it, I'd say that's fair. That's valid. He deserves it.
Yeah, he's the best player in the world. Allegedly, he's probably the best player in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, looking at the standings, the Western Conference is going to come down to the wire, Finn. OKC have secured that number 1 seed, but the next 3 teams...
It's not clinched technically. But
no one's
But
getting.
no one's catching
No one's catching them. The next 3 teams, the Rockets, incredibly, who I thought could fall into the play-in, they've been on like a 6-game win streak.
Yeah.
They're back up to the 2 seed, but they're tied with the Grizzlies.
You hate to see it.
They're tied with the Grizzlies and the... Who's the other team? The Nuggets. All 3 of them are tied with the same
The
record.
Lakers are just...
Slightly behind.
No, one thing that I have taken into account, if the Lakers want to have any chance at a postseason run, LeBron and Luka need to play every single game fully healthy. Otherwise, there is not a single chance that they can win games. Jackson Hayes is out injured. Alex Len, who was commentating? I don't know who it was. It might have been Reggie Miller. It's just... punching Alex Len. He's the problem on the court. He's not scoring. He's not defending. He's not... Poor Alex Len, man. Like, they were supposed to have Mark Williams, guys, but with no, like, they don't have. I mean, Jackson Hayes surprisingly has looked quite good. However, if LeBron and Luka are not healthy, then there's, in my opinion, not a single chance that they can win a first-round playoff matchup.
Yeah, and I think they really need to do their best to avoid OKC or Denver. Those 2 teams,
I think they beat them.
they're out.
I think they lose to any of those teams.
If they face the Grizzlies or the Rockets, though, I think that's a comfortable win for the Lakers, in my opinion. So that's what I'd be
that
aiming
loss
for.
against the Nuggets the other day, where AR and Dalton were going crazy without Luka and LeBron, they needed that win, and Russ gets the steal, and they win the game.
I dropped Dalton in fantasy, bro.
Ooh,
Anyway,
rookie move.
that's it for another week, guys. Tune in next week for the big number 30, and maybe another giveaway from Finn James. Thanks for tuning in.